All right, so this is the framework I've been working on. In the last video, we took our Streamlit front end, connected to our N8N, and then N8N talked to our agent connection wrapper at port 8080, and that eventually connected us to our Agent Bundle 1 at port 8000. And we established a nice little agentic communication over this. And we had 3 agents in this bundle that we talked to. Now, let me go quickly show this structure in reality. I mean, everything is still local. All right, so this is the ADK bundle, just like running on port 8000, just like shown right here. Agent Bundle 1, 8000. And this is our port. And only thing special about this time is that normally we just run ADK API server, that's it. And by default, it just starts at port 8000. But this time, we are actually, I just recently upgraded this. So now we have a few parameters, host, which is localhost, and port 8000. And this is the one that came in new. Before, they used to have DB services URL or something like that, but they changed it to session service URI. And with that, I could mention a SQLite database, calling it ADK session.db. So what happens now is that when I start ADK server like that, ADK actually manages the chat history in this database. It does it, all by itself. And one thing to note here, I initially added this to Supabase, where I actually have a Postgres SQL DB, but I immediately lost 60-70% of the speed. So I had to ditch that and come to a local SQLite file. So now I have to just change my strategy and back them up in a GCS cloud, Google Cloud storage bucket. And I will no longer use some remote database because that just takes too much time. So that being said, so this is our ADK Bundle 1 listening. So next would be our ADK wrapper running on port 8080, just shown in here like that, agent connection wrapper. In the last video, I went over all the details, so now I'm not going to say too much about it. Just so you know, this is the one handles the data that gets passed to our Agent Bundle 1. That being said, now let's go see our N8N installation. Once again, last video we went over this in detail, and only reason I'm using this is to prove that I don't have to use N8N's own agent modules. I can use my own agent modules where all the agents reside in a backend ADK server. And this webhook connects it, and this webhook sends the reply back to our Streamlit frontend. And now this is our Streamlit frontend. As you can see, here we can talk to all 3 of our agents in the bundle. And besides the session memory, using SQLite, we also added something called the dynamic prompt engineering. And here we can have our instructions to all those agents, and we can save them remotely. And any change we make here will reflect immediately in the agent characteristics, which we will prove very soon. But before that, let me show you where we are writing these files. Okay, right here. This is our Google storage bucket, and we have a folder, ADK Agent Bundle 1, and that's where we have all the agent name folder. And inside them, we have the, let's say for Jarvis agent, we have Jarvis agent instruction.txt, and that has all the instructions that we just showed in our Streamlit front end, and we get to save them right here. And this is the second thing we added to our framework. And the third thing we did add is the context store. So I just added my resume in a text format. So this one, we will have one of our agents read from and answer all the questions based on that. We will also test it out very soon from the front end. That said, now this is the base framework, but let me just go quickly over the actual target structure we're shooting for. I mean, right now this is just a POC, but ultimately what we're going for we'll cover next. All right, so this is the ultimate goal we're trying to reach. We are calling it the N8N and ADK Hybrid framework. The reason I'm calling it hybrid is because there's a mix and match going on. Right here, you can see there are 3 different workflows in action. 2 agentic and another one just a simple data sync workflow, which is at the heart of everything. I mean, this is where we're taking advantage of the best qualities of N8N, one of them being connecting easily to third-party services. So here we're going to just have a data sync workflow going independent of anybody else. All it's going to do is go ahead and read like Google Docs or Sheets or whatever, get the text out, convert them into .md file or .txt files, and dump them in a Google storage bucket, as you saw here. Right here, the storage bucket where we can have, a bundle-wise organization, and then inside a bundle we can have our agents going, and inside agents they will have their instruction files like this. Calc would have it calc, greeting would have greeting, and then also we'll have a context store. That's where we're going to dump the files, where our agents using a tool is going to connect to these contexts for 100% accuracy. And trust me, we tested it so far. This process gives us 100%. I mean, I haven't found any hallucinations so far, but we're testing more. So let's go back. So once this guy keeps all our documentations or documents or instructions or context up to date. I mean, I'm going to be using the triggers, like Google Doc triggers when we edit or dump new files. And as a backup, I'm also going to have like some sort of a cron job going, let's say every 10 minutes or every hour or in an hourly basis, whatever our workflow requires. So that way we have easy access to change these instructions and context. And as you will see very soon, that instructions are going to, take effect live. I mean, instantly. We'll show you in an example. So once we have, our instruction set and context up to date and have access to them according to this workflow, that means all we're going to be doing is changing files here, and the rest will be taken care of. And then we can build our agentic workflows. They can have dedicated front ends. And the reason I say, hybrid is because, as you can see here, I'm throwing N8N in there just in case our agentic bundle needs to spit something out and communicate back to Google Sheet or Docs, update some files over there, or this guy might returning, like, let's say, create a post in WordPress, or update something in the other Google Clouds, or send a message to Slack, etc. Right? But doesn't necessarily mean that we're always gonna need N8N. It comes and goes according to necessity, but you can see now how independent our workflows can be. We can have like a dedicated front end for our agentic bundle 1, connecting to the dedicated connection wrapper 1, and same here, wrapper 2 connecting to agent 2 bundle. So they will keep going independently using the common structure from the common data from the same cloud storage bucket. And all these bundles are going to be deployed in Google Cloud also. Like our front end, our agent wrapper, and our agent bundle, they will have their own little Docker containers to run from. And they will be talking to each other, and all the bundles will be talking to their corresponding Google storage. And this guy will keep all the data warm. All that being said, now let's go test things out in our POC. All right, so let's test our session memory here. Hi, right? I mean, this is a greeting agent. Let's see what he knows about me right now. All right, so he's asking me my name, right? So I'm like, okay, I am Moose from Atlanta, GA. I gave him like a lighthearted, jokestar personality. So now he knows my name. So now I'm gonna go change to CAL calc agent and say, hey, can you make me a pie chart? Because this guy had a tool called code execution, and he's trying, but he's not gonna. He doesn't have enough tool to create the full reply. But what I'm gonna show, like, let's go back to greeting agent, see everything is gone. So, or let's see, like, guess who's back? Boom, there you go. Moose. He remembers. Where am I from? Atlanta, GA. Nice. And let's go back to this guy and say, what was my last question? Hey, can you make me a pie chart? So now we can see that it actually has the session memories even when we are changing agents. And let me just go and find where our database is. It's right here, ADK session DB. And this is where ADK itself is saving all the necessary data, connecting our user, our session, etc. Look at that. And all that started because we started the whole thing by saying session service URI SQLite ADK session DB, and this is our ADK session DB. All right. So now let's go check the other thing, the mission control, and this time we're going to go ahead and test out the Jarvis agent. All right, but before we make any change here, let's go back to chat and find our Jarvis agent. And here we're going to just ask him basic question just to see what's the default answer. Hey, you up? Hey, Tony, always. So basically, since it's Jarvis, he knows he's talking to Tony Stark. So now let's change his behavior a little bit. Or just to show you that he actually has the Google search tool. So let me ask him who won the 2023 T20 World Cup cricket. So let's see if we can find the answer of 2023 T20 World Cup cricket. All right, so he found the answer. That proves that he has the tool necessary to find it. Now let's go back and make a change. All right, so now he's gonna answer everything as usual, but he's gonna do it in French. So let's just save it. All right, successfully saved. Now let's go back to Jarvis. Jarvis, you up? Look at that. Immediate answer in French. All right, so just do another quick one. Let's go and change this language to Bengali. Let's save it. Go back to chat. Pick Jarvis. How are you doing today? And look at that. Weird looking language, but it's accurate. Luckily, I can read this. And as you saw, just by dynamically changing our instruction set, we get immediate change in agentic behavior. That's what I'm calling dynamic prompt engineering. And just to make sure, let's go back to this and let's go to Jarvis agent and click here. Look at that. This is exactly the change we made from our mission controller, and that's what it's showing. And that's exactly what this guy is reading and changing his behavior. So we just tested memory and the instruction set. Now let's go test the context, right? And only context given to our greeting agent. And what is the context? Let's go check. All right, so here we are. This is where our context lies. I pretty much uploaded my resume right here, the whole thing, and this is the calculation behind it. I just calculated this is using 3,033 tokens, which actually means 2,275 words. And the reason I did this calculation is just I'm using this just to as a control set so that I can verify all the answers, because I know this by heart. And at the same time, I wanted to see how much I can accomplish without going through a regular RAG route, which is retrieval augmented generation. And the idea of this I got from the CAG setup. CAG is CAG, or cache augmented generation. So, but I kind of settled for something in the middle, because nowadays models, especially like what I'm using here is Gemini 2.5 Flash. Pretty much all these models have a million token context length or context window. So 3,000 context is nothing, right? But at the same time, let's say if you're building agent and if you are deciding to, give it context to get accurate answer, this is the best way to do so. Because I have been working with RAG for about a couple of years now, and I have yet to find, like a very 100%, close to 100% accuracy with RAG. And I looked into CAG, which actually utilizes the model's internal caching system, but that's too geeky to implement. So I chose this way. No vectorization, no nothing. I'm just gonna give a flat file with full of text to verify how much accuracy can I get and how much time it takes me, right? So that's why I uploaded my 2,000 word resume, which is 3,000 in context, 3,000 token in context. So now you guys be the judge to see how much accuracy I'm getting out of how much tokens, right? So let's go back. All right, so before we get started, let's go and check what's the current instruction set looks like. I mean, his name is Rico. He is a lighthearted, humorist. But then here also I told him he has another responsibility to look up from my resume and which resides in a file called mooseresume.txt, and from there he should be able to answer all the resume related questions correctly. So that said, let's go back. Yo dude, I'm back. All right, so he knows my name, etc. And then now I'm gonna ask him, so tell me this from my resume. So where did I use ProLine servers? Okay. All right, so now he's reading the file, and he found that compact ProLine servers I used when I was a system engineer at HP within this time frame. So let's quickly check ProLine servers just to verify. In this resume, Control F, boom, there you go. HP Systems Engineer 97 to 1998. 97 to 1998, perfect. So let's go with the second question. Where did I use Oracle PL SQL? All right, look at that. IT trainer as in Solution Inc. July 2000 to 2001, right? That's where I was a PL SQL teacher. So now let's copy this text. And let's go verify. Boom, there you go. Solution Inc. IT Trainer 2000 to 2001 PL SQL. Perfectly identified. Now let's go with another one. And look at that. 8 companies, which sounds about right. And now let's see. Next question is, when did I work for AT&T and what did I do there? And if you look at the time, I mean, it is not really too much, especially when you consider that it's happening, it is actually talking to an N8N server, which actually is slowing it down, and then it's talking to a wrapper, and then wrapper going to ADK server. So there you go. the timing is accurate, 6 months, 8 years and 6 months, and every single detail. So let's go verify. There you go, AT&T. This is the time frame, 8 years, 6 months, and pretty much all the details are the same. So let's go do one last question. How about my certifications? So let's see what it finds. And boom, the full list right here. As you can see, if you go up here and look at this list, A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, Linux Plus, Sun Microsystem, MCSE, MCP plus I, and exact same list. So pretty much so far I have successfully gotten like 100% answer correct. And this is something, once again, none of the RAG systems ever was able to give me, even though I'm still working on making my RAG systems better using context, this, that, the other. But still, this is something in the middle of the way I found to be much more accurate. And yes, it might be a little bit slower if your context length is larger than this. And you can use this kind of tools to calculate how long. I mean, 2,000 words. I mean, how much more instructions do we really have to give every agent every time, right? So this is a good gold standard for me. 2,000 to 3,000 words. And I'm pretty sure once I eliminate the N8N part, and I'm gonna gain some speed over there. So yeah, this has gave me the accuracy I was looking for. And yes, the time, the latency I will sacrifice for this level of accuracy that no RAG system could ever give me. So that being said, let's go look at some of the code. So this is the ADK bundle. Let's start here at the calculator agent. And this guy here. Now, this is something to look at. Yeah, this is pretty simple, but just after I upgraded this to this new ADK bundle, this thing has changed. Like, for example, before, this built-in code executor used to be a tool. I was using it right here, but ever since this new one came, now I just bring in that class and execute that function, create a code executor, and then use it in an extra attribute they added called code executor equals code executor. This Jarvis agent here, yeah, we both brought in the Google search tool and gave him the search tool right here. And as you can see, this instruction, I'm using a live function, get live instructions, a function which is actually invoking an utility by passing the agent name. And this is the utility. We go here, fetch instructions, and this is sitting under utils, GCS utils. It's I have like bucket name, folder name, etc. importing Google storage, and it's just a simple file reader, right, from the Google storage bucket. It's reading the instruction set and coming back to this. It is just, now here's the thing, when I used this guy as a tool, like fetch instructions straight up here, what was happening was it would work once and everything would be cached, and until I bounced this server, nothing would be renewed. So for that reason, I had to create a live function here invoking this utility, and then call that live function directly here. So every time now, every time it looks for instruction, it goes ahead and runs this function, collects the fresh batch, and that that's what it uses. That's why you would see we could just as soon as we saved our function, save our new instruction set and went back, and immediately it reflected in the chat session, right? That said, now let's go to this actual greeting agent, and in here what we see is that we are going to create a resume reader tool, and we are calling in the function tool from ADK tools, and this function turns this into a tool, and which is basically a same thing as we saw for the instructions, fetch documentation, but it is only going in a different file with context utility, and it, as you can see, it's the same bucket calling, and then only it's a different folder this time. You know, this under the context store. Other than that, all the code are the same. It's reading the instruction set, and you know, it's reading the context just like the instruction set, right? So now you can see how it's being done, and these guys are only one-way journey, right? I mean, this guy's doing only reading the instruction, reading the context, etc. But if we look at the chat system here, which is using a sub page called mission control, this guy on the other hand bringing in the GCS utility, and it's actually doing two things: fetch instruction and update instruction. And if we go under the GCS util here, now we're going to see it is actually doing two things. It's reading and it is writing with the update information. I mean, with the update instructions right here. And this is the reason we could actually change the instruction set from the mission controller and save it back. That said, I'm gonna finish with just one more thing, which is our N8N structure. And let's go under the execution, because there's some small changes I made since the last video. So let's go look at this guy right here. And as you can see, our last question was asking about my certifications list. So that's what it's showing and returning back to our Streamlit front end. But this code node here, this one thing got changed. We're adding a session ID now. Before I had only user ID but no session ID. But since we are now maintaining session-based memories, so now this one extra thing got added. This is a simple JavaScript, and same way when we get the answer back, we are also right here getting the session ID, right? And that's how we are maintaining the agent's memory. And as you can see, this all our instructions still going through this workflow right here in N8N. And that being said, there are more to come, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.